The highest rated match of this episode of Dynamite was the match between Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Cash Wheeler, Dax Harwood, and Eddie Kingston. Its rating on Cage Match at the time of broadcast was sitting around a 7.69, with most of the ratings being around 8 out of 10, and then really nothing below 6, very few 6 ratings and under, and like nothing else. So very, very solid match to start the show. God, this match rocked so fucking hard. Easily my favorite one of these AEW multi-man tags in a long while. Eddie is obviously the star of the show. Selling, timing, and psychology were all on point. The BCC felt like peak Shield with their use of the numbers games. Mox and FTR maintained the action through the Kingston and Danielson bits. My favorite competitor in this was actually Claudio. After the first exchange with Kingston, where Eddie gets the better of him, he has that look in his eye. It's like Claudio realized in real time that Kingston has surpassed him after 20 years of looking down on him. Then, throughout the rest of the match, just jumping on Eddie like a jealous ex. God, this is my type of storytelling in wrestling. And I agree, man. This is the first time that I've really seen the BCC look like the Shield. Like I was getting those flashes when I was watching this match. These guys were swarming and their unison moves. I am living for this version of the BCC with these combination moves that they are using. I almost felt at times that I was watching 3 singles matches happening simultaneously, concurrently on top of each other. Like that's how fluid this was all going together. I would easily watch another 6-man tag man. What the fuck? I would easily watch this match over and over and over again. You could pair these guys up on any night of the week. This could be a flagship pairing for AEW going forward. It was absolutely phenomenal. This is the most I've ever enjoyed FTR. This is the most I've ever enjoyed the Blackpool Combat Club. Not taking away anything from either of those groups. This is just the most entertaining that I've seen them be and the most fluid in the ring. These guys are going all out on each other. There's chest slaps everywhere. These guys hit each other harder than anybody else in AEW. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. And the only thing keeping it from a 5 is like the commercial break. When will this end? It's gotten to the point where nothing Jericho does is even remotely entertaining. And the fact that this was essentially the closing segment, minus the great but way too short Sting moment on the Go Home episode before Revolution, is insane. Jericho needs to take a couple of months off, at the very least, to just garner some more interest in his character. Jericho was way off here. Atlas Jr. still looked good despite that. The stuff with Dad was at least interesting. No idea if that's Jericho's next feud, but sure, why not? Not coming out to Judas really showed how Jericho is not over at all. He's just an entrance at this point. I keep buying every Fozzy record I see and hope that they think they're big enough to go on a world tour and I don't have to watch him have crap wrestling matches on my TV. Oh shit, that's mean. Ugh. I feel like folks nowadays are being dishonest about Chris Jericho's in-ring work nowadays. Yes, he's definitely past his prime as a wrestler. However, he can still go in the ring and work good matches at his age nowadays. Seriously, there was only one sloppy moment in this entire match, and that was Chris Jericho sweeping Atlas Jr. into the steel steps nearly halfway into the match. Everything else ranged from solid to great. Jericho had some pretty good spots, such as the wicked avalanche facebuster, those still stiff chop fest, the top rope Hurricane Rana, that counter into the walls of Jericho at the end, which eventually transitioned into the Lion Tamer for the finish. Seriously, Jericho is in his 50s. He has no right to wrestle this well or work this stiff. It was pretty much what Jericho promised in his promo earlier that night, which was a violent match. As for Atlas Jr., this guy was freaking impressive too. His chops were so stiff, and that torture rack transition was just awesome. Both men deserve credit for playing their parts well in last night's match. This contest was not a 4.86. In fact, Jericho versus Atlantis Jr. was much better than that criminally low number. Anyway, I give this really good match a strong 7.5 out of 10. And I got to agree, this match got off to a slow, bad start, and I feel maybe people tuned out and just started typing on cage match before watching the rest of the match. And I agree, I'm there with you. I have Jericho fatigue as well. I said it on a podcast that I was enjoying Dynamite much more without Jericho on it. He hasn't been on in a few weeks, and it's more that I'm fatigued over his storylines. Have I said that I feel that Jericho needs to retire? Yeah, there's just so many more interesting things going on. And more than he needs to retire. I don't want to say that he needs to retire, because Jericho can wrestle for as long as Jericho wants to. Jericho is an amazing person, okay? He's an amazing wrestler. And I think he should wrestle for as long as he feels healthy and willing and able to do that. That's great. What I would like to see is just Jericho be Jericho. And be over with the audience and do the Judas thing. The Lionheart thing is cool. Did it really pay off here? I mean, maybe. I got to say, I didn't like the end of the match. I didn't like the end of the match at all. I think, what's the point of this if you're not going to put over the new guy? If you're not going to put over Atlantis Jr.? Having Chris Jericho win, but still like be respectful in the end. I don't know. I just didn't make any sense. Like, Jericho as a story, I'm over. Jericho as a person, I think is fantastic, and Jericho is great, and he was there at the start of AEW, and I'm not going to stop giving him his flowers for that. That was a really big move at the beginning of AEW to come aboard and bring that star power and bring that interest. And he said he's been nothing but a cheerleader for the company. And I think he's been a good thing for the company in general. He's had some amazing, legendary... I'm never going to forget the tickets.
It looks like Cody.
I'm never going to forget a little bit of the bubbly.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
I'm never going to forget so many of the great things that Jericho has brought to AEW over the years. And I'm hoping that he'll have another, legendary story angle like that. I mean, keep rolling the dice, Jericho. It's bound to happen. The guy's a genius. It's gonna happen eventually. But it is getting tiring watching that kind of flounder time and time again. I don't know if that's any fault of his own or just, the cards that are being played. But that's what it is. And I can't lie and say that I enjoy everything that Jericho does on AEW TV. I don't. And this, however, this match, it did come around for me. It started off as a hot one, right? But by the end of this match, I do feel it was a solid 3. I would say a solid 3. They were bumping their asses off. These guys were flying all over the ring. They were bouncing off the steps. They were giving it their all. It was a violent match. I like the angle with the father being involved, choking Jericho out on the ropes. But that's just what I thought, everybody. I want to know what you think. I want to know what the Gravediggers think out there. So make sure you leave your comments down below. And hey, I got this great Instagram page going on right now where I put clips from this series on there on my Instagram page, and it's blowing up, and we got wrestlers interested in it, and people are sharing it, and it's really taken off more than this YouTube page, actually. So I would definitely highly suggest you going and adding a follow there. That will help it grow even bigger and let me do bigger things on this YouTube channel. This is the last Dynamite review before the Revolution pay-per-view, and we'll put that video on the channel as well. I'll probably do the same thing where I just do like a best and worst for the Revolution pay-per-view. I don't really know how this all works on the YouTube channel at this point, as far as, transitioning from doing longer, less watched reviews to shorter, more. It's the Instagram thing. Like, I'm getting thousands and thousands of views over there on these clips. So that's kind of why I'm making the shorter videos. It takes me a ton of time to put these together, anywhere from like 3 to 4 hours from start to finish to do these. And I just don't have the time to, go over every single match if I'm doing all that editing and whatnot, which is paying off in a bigger way for the channel. If you ever want to know more of my thoughts on everything, if you want to really get into all that, then I do guest spots on other podcasts where we'll go over every match, usually on the All Elite Zone. So you can catch me over there doing that kind of stuff if you ever want to know like all of my thoughts. Or let's grow the channel. If the channel gets big enough, then I can do more of that stuff. That would really help out. And the best way to do that is to watch another video. So make sure you check them out. I've got a couple more video reviews of older shows that I didn't do before I started doing this. I want to do that. My goal is to have all of the shows, all the Dynamites reviewed from January up until Revolution. And then I'm going to put those together into one big video. But there's going to be a lot of new content. So if you're one of these guys that watches until the end, make sure you check out that, even though it's going to have a lot of footage that you may have already seen, especially if you're a guy that watches all the way to the end. The thing is, I know a lot of people have not watched all the way to the end. So I'm going to try to get that content back out there, get that in front of people, put it into a package that people can really enjoy. I've seen longer videos play very well on YouTube, so I'm hopeful about that. I don't know why I went through all this business and explained all that to like 5 people, but there it is. All right, everybody, I know that you're a grave digger, so there's not much else to say other than keep digging.
Stop what you're doing, baby, and follow Mr. Hargrave from parts unknown, if you will, baby.
I've seen the demon's face.
Mark joined one half of private party, say what up to the grave diggers, and keep doing your thing.
On my knees in praise of the horrible things that took her away.
Watch another video or be cursed.